Yes, good morning. How are you, children? Today we are going to see the first module in human reproduction. Chapter outline: Human reproductive system, gametogenesis, menstrual cycle, fertilization and implantation, maintenance of pregnancy and embryonic development, and last point, parturition and lactation. These are all the sub-concepts we are going to study in this chapter. Before entering into the chapter, student, you must know the major differences between female reproduction and male reproduction. These are only for recalling. I hope you know. The functions of reproductive system. To produce gametes, namely sperms and ova, ovum is singular. To transport and sustain these gametes, to mature the developing offspring, to produce hormones. Students, you may know this point. Apart from producing the gametes, the reproductive system also produces hormones. So these are all very important ones. Now what are the reproductive events? These are all the events of reproductive system: gametogenesis, insemination, fertilization, cleavage, implantation, placentation, gastrulation, organogenesis, and parturition. Now we see one by one. Gametogenesis. Formation of gametes by spermatogenesis and oogenesis. It is called gametogenesis. The gametes are produced. Insemination. Transfer of sperms by male into female genital tract is called insemination. Thus, the sperm reaches the ovum. Fertilization. Fusion of male and female gametes to form zygote. Here, the haploid gamete is transferred to zygote diploid condition. Cleavage. By mitotic division of zygote, which convert the single cell zygote into multicellular structure called blastocyst. Here, before the zygote formation, that is during gametogenesis, meiotic cell division takes place. After zygote formation, mitotic cell division takes place, so that the single celled zygote is converted into multicellular structure called blastocyst. Implantation. Attachment of blastocyst to the uterine wall called the implantation. Placentation. Formation of placenta, which is the intimate connection between fetus and uterine wall of the mother or exchange of nutrients, so that there is a connection between the developing fetus and mother. Gastrulation. Process by which blastocyst is changed into gastrula with three primary germ layers. Organogenesis. We can say the formation of organs. Genesis means production, so production of organs. Here, formation of specific tissues, organs, and organ systems from the three germ layers is called organogenesis. Parturition. Expulsion of fetus from the mother womb is called parturition. Now we are going to see the male reproductive system. What are the parts of male reproductive system? First one, a pair of testes, accessory ducts, glands, and fourth one, external genitalia. Students, now we see one by one in detail in the further slides. Here, the accessory ducts are rete testis, Vasa Efferentia, epididymis, Vasa deferens, ejaculatory duct, urethra, and the glands associated with male reproductive system are seminal vesicle, pulpourethral gland, which is also called Cowper's gland, and prostate gland. These are all the glands associated with the male reproductive system. The external genitalia is penis. So this is outer structure of the male reproductive system. Now we see in detail one by one. First one, the testes. The external structure of the testes. Student, you know very well, it is somewhat ovoid in nature, and it is present in the scrotal sac. It is present in the scrotal sac. You know very well the scrotal sac is kept outside the body because the sperm should be kept at least 2 to 3 degrees Celsius lower than the body temperature, so that now this acts as a thermoregulator. When you see the structure of the testes, you can find 200 to 250 lobules inside. And inside the tubules, you can find the seminiferous tubule, Sertoli cells, interstitial cells, or Leydig cells. Now we pass on to the internal structure of the testis. Each testis is covered by outermost fibrous tunica albuginea. That is a outermost layer. See here, it is a outermost layer of the testis. And testis is divided into 200 to 250 lobules inside. Inside you can find 200 to 250 lobules, and here they have a highly coiled structure called testicular tubules or seminiferous tubules where sperms are produced. Epididymis. The epididymis is a coiled tube-like structure, and it is a temporary storehouse for spermatozoa. Here, after production of the sperm from here, they are stored for some time. Now the accessory ducts. What are the accessory ducts? You know very well. Rete testis, Vasa Efferentia, epididymis, and Vasa deferens. Now how the produced sperm are passed to that. The sperms are produced in the testis and they leave the rete testis and reaches or enter to the epididymis through Vasa Efferentia, and last they reach the Vasa deferens. Through that they are ejaculated outside. Sometimes students, they may ask you to arrange the accessory ducts in correct order. So this is the correct order. Don't change it. Now this is a major difference between Vasa Efferentia and Vasa deferens or Vasa differentia. The Vasa Efferentia arises from rete testis. Vasa differentia arises from epididymis. These are all 15 to 20 in number, and here Vasa differentia are only 2 in number. Vasa efferentia transport immature spermatozoa, and Vasa differentia transport mature spermatozoa. Students, sometimes they may ask, what are the differences between Vasa efferentia and Vasa differentia? You can recall this one. Now the accessory glands. What are the accessory glands? Are male. There are 3 glands associated with this. First one pair of seminal vesicles, one pair of pulpourethral gland or Cowper's gland. The last one a single prostate gland. The first 2 are present as a pair, and last one the prostate gland is present as a single one. Now we see one by one. The seminal vesicle. So this is a seminal vesicle. Right side and left side you can find 2 seminal vesicles. So the seminal vesicles secrete seminal plasma. It is an alkaline fluid. The seminal plasma contains fructose sugar, ascorbic acid, prostaglandins, and vesicles. Vesicles is a coagulating enzyme that enhances sperm motility. And second comes the bulbourethral gland. The bulbourethral gland is also a pair. Both sides you can see the bulbourethral gland. It helps in the secretion, and these are all very important for lubrication of the penis. And last gland, it is present single. You can find the prostate gland. The prostate gland, here it is present only one. Secrete slightly acidic fluid that contains citrate, several enzyme, prostate specific antigens. The last one, semen, sometimes we call seminal fluid, is a milky white fluid that contains sperm and seminal plasma. Now you must know the structure of the seminiferous tubule because it is very important for the production of sperm. Here you have two cells. One is Sertoli cells or nerve cells, and second one is spermatogonic cells or male germ cells. Now the Sertoli cells or nerve cells provide nourishment to the developing sperms, and also they secrete inhibitin, the hormone which is involved in negative feedback control of sperm production. At the same time, the spermatogonic cells or male germ cells divide meiotically and differentiate to produce spermatozoa. So the nerve cells, they are concentrating how the produced sperms are helped, and the spermatogonic cells are important for the production of spermatozoa. Apart from that, there are another cells called interstitial cells or Leydig cells. They are embedded in the soft connective tissue surrounding the seminiferous tubule. These cells secrete androgens, namely the testosterone hormone, that initiate the process of spermatogenesis. So when you see all the three cells, whether Sertoli cells, spermatogonic cells, or interstitial cells, so all the three cells, they are involving how to produce the functional spermatozoa. Then external genitalia, already we studied in single term, that is the penis is the external genitalia, that is very important to transport the produced sperm. Already you know the sperm plus seminal fluid is equal to semen. The amount of semen released during ejaculation is relatively small, about 2 to 6 ml, but it contains 50 to 100 million sperms per ml. Students, they may ask one more question. What is the count of sperm in 1 ml of sperm of semen? It is 50 to 100 million sperms per ml. Now we pass on to the next one, female reproductive system. When we compare with the male reproductive system, it is somewhat complex. Then what are the parts present in the female reproductive system? A pair of ovaries, a pair of oviduct, uterus, cervix, vagina, and external genitalia. These are all the parts of female reproductive system. Then what are the functions of the female reproductive system? It supports the process of ovulation, fertilization, pregnancy, and childbirth and childcare. These are all the functions of female reproductive system. Now we study the first part, ovaries. The ovaries are located on each side of the lower abdomen, and it is covered by a thin cuboidal epithelium called germinal epithelium, which encloses ovarian stroma. They produce the female gamete called ovum. So this is about the external structure of the ovary. Now we pass on to the internal structure. The stroma. The stroma has two layers. One is outer cortex and another one is inner medulla. The outer cortex appears dense and granular due to the presence of ovarian follicles, and the inner medulla contains loose connective tissues with abundant blood supplies, lymphatic vessels, and nerve fibers. The ovary remains attached to the pelvic wall and the uterus by an ovarian ligament called mesoovarium. Student, you remember this one, mesoovarium. What is mesoovarium? It is a ligament that connects the uterus and attached with the pelvic wall. Now, female accessory organs: fallopian tubes, uterus, vagina, and glands. These are all the accessory glands associated with female reproductive system. The glands are Bartholin's gland and Skene's gland. We study one by one. First one, the fallopian tube. The fallopian tube is otherwise known as uterine tube or oviduct. You can see here, this is the ovary, and here you can see the fallopian tubes. The fallopian tubes. First, there is a funnel-like structure. Funnel-like structure, that is infundibulum. That is called infundibulum. You can see this is a funnel-shaped structure that is called infundibulum. After that, here you can see a small finger-like projections. These are all called fimbriae. So infundibulum, fimbriae, then the ampulla. That is a central portion of the ampulla is somewhat wider. It is somewhat wider. And last, you can find the isthmus. So isthmus is very important, and it connects the ampulla and infundibulum to the uterus. Fallopian tube continues. Uterus. The second part we are going to study uterus. See here, it is a uterus. When you see the uterus, the structure of uterus, you can find three layers. The wall of the uterus, the outermost layer, middle layer, and inner layer. The outermost layer is somewhat thin membranous serous layer, and middle layer it is thick muscular layer, and inner layer glandular layer. It is about the uterus of female reproductive system. We have the technical terms for these three layers. What are they? Perimetrium, mesometrium, myometrium, then glandular layer is called endometrium. The endometrium is very, very important for the implantation of the uterus. Now we pass on to the vagina. It is the exterior genital organ. Glands. What are the glands associated with female reproductive system? One is Bartholin's gland. It is located posterior to the left and right of the opening of the vagina. They secrete mucus material that lubricate the vagina and are homologous to the pulpourethral glands of the male. Students, sometimes they may ask this as one more question. The Bartholin gland is homologous to the pulpourethral gland of male. Skene's glands are located on the anterior wall of the vagina and around the lower end of the urethra. They secrete a lubricating fluid and are homologous to the prostate gland of male. Sometimes they may ask this question also. Mammary gland. The mammary glands are modified sweat glands. You know the meaning for sweat glands. In the skin, you can find so many sweat glands. Like that, they are a modified structure. In the case of male, it is rudimentary and it is functional in female. A paramammary gland is located in the thoracic region of the female. It contains glandular tissues and variable quantities of fat with a median nipple surrounded by pigmented area called areola. The areola is sometimes black in color. This is the structure of mammary gland. Now the mammary gland internal structure we are going to study. Here 2 to 25 lobes are present. Each lobule contains acini or alveoli. That is a sac-like structure. And there are tubules. They are called mammary tubules. They join to form mammary duct. They are again joined to form a wider mammary ampullae. Now, lactiferous duct is formed near the nipple. Then they expand to form lactiferous sinus, which serves as a reservoir of the milk. Students, sometimes they may ask this one as a question, which serve as a reservoir of milk. That is a lactiferous sinus. And last, each lactiferous duct opens separately by a minute pore on the surface of the nipple, and through that the milk is ejected out. Thank you, children. Have a nice day. We see in another lesson. Thank you.